Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to some more F1 My Team career mode. Today we are here for the Austrian Grand Prix, round number 10 of the season. And if you guys want to check out the previous episode at France where I attempted to speak some French at the start of the video, then go check it out guys. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner of your screen. Also, one last quick plug guys for all of you career mode viewers. I'm trying to get into more league racing competitive stuff, so yesterday I done a video of me trying to qualify for F1 Esports. So if you guys want to go check that out as well, I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner. I really enjoyed that video, actually making it as well. And I think if you guys want to try it for yourselves, then by all means give it a go. Let me know how you got on. So I'm going to plug that real quick here in this video. But guys, without further ado, like the video if you're going to enjoy, subscribe for more F1 2020 daily content, and let's get into today's video. Well, we meet again on the laptop, and as you can see, we have some rain expected for qualifying, which could be interesting. We then look at the R&D graph, and no real upgrades this weekend besides Williams and Haas really, so no real major changes on that front. We then look at our own upgrades, and we've got 2 durability upgrades on the way, and once those 2 arrive, I think we should be okay in terms of reliability for the rest of the season, and we should be able to see it out in terms of, you know, getting to the end of the year on these current power units that we have. So here we are then, it's Austria time, and we jump into practice specifically as we look at Antonio Giovinazzi getting ready for the start of the session in his Haas, and we're going to hit the track and see how the car feels, because of course Austria is a very short lap, only 10 corners, so any mistake gets punished very highly. And to be fair, I was surprised how quick we were, and also the other cars around us. We was actually surprisingly close to the 1 minute lap time after practice, 1 minute 3.1, but that was on mediums, and we've hardly turned the engines up, and you know, we've got the full qualifying grip to arrive, and also the soft tyres yet to be run. So the lap time is going to come down a lot, I feel, and we could get pretty close to that 1 minute lap time. Not super close. I think we still need a few more upgrades in order to kind of break that 1 minute record, but I think we're going to get really close, and I'm looking forward to it. So here we go, moving into qualifying, and I'm ready for this because the car feels great. You know, as you saw, me and Ricardo were the quickest in practice one, so there's a lot of things to be happy about and feel encouraged about heading into this session, and I feel like we've got a great car underneath us to try and get this done. So here we go, moving into Q1 then. And to be fair, it's becoming fairly routine now. There shouldn't be any scares in regards to Q1. We should be getting through relatively comfortably. And, you know, at this point, you start to turn the engines up and the true pace starts to appear. And you can see here, we crossed the line. We set at 1 minute 0.9 in Q1 on our very first lap. So straight away, showing some really strong pace. We finished the session in P6. Bottas goes quickest with a 1 minute 0.5. So, like I said, we're very close to those 1 minute lap times. And quite surprising because the cars are nowhere near maxed out in terms of R&D. But with that said, we moved to Q2, and you can see how dark the skies have gotten, and that's because the rain is on the horizon. The rain is meant to arrive any second now, so I went out very early in Q2. I was one of the first cars to get a lap in, and we're going to run on board for this entire lap because this is going to be the last lap in the drive we're going to get all weekend. So straight away through turn 1, struggling for a bit of grip. I ran a bit wide, hit the curb on the outside and had to go off the track, so not the best line through there. We then make our way down towards turn 3, much better through there on the hairpin. Again, it's some nice clean traction on the exit as well, and you can see now on the halo the rain is just starting to appear now, a couple of drops on the camera as well. So the timing of this lap is very important. We need to make sure we get this lap in and make no mistakes. So here we go, now making our way through turn 5 into 6, the end of sector 2, this long left-hander here, short shift after 6th gear, and then throwing the car into the second part of this left-hander, turn 7, which feeds into turn 8, keeping the car nice and tight on the exit, and now making our way down towards turns 9 and 10. Turn 9, 7th gear, commit, clip the inside curb, don't run too wide. We get a bit of oversteer there on the exit of the corner, and then on the power out of the final corner, opening DRS, and we cross the line, setting a 1 minute 1.0, so actually a tenth slower than Q1, partly down to the weather conditions and also the mistake we made at turn 1, but we did finish fastest of all in Q2, so in the end, it wasn't too bad, and you know, the rain caught out a few people, to be fair. Bottas and Hamilton being the 2 main ones, they're both out in Q2. Ricardo goes through on mediums as well, so a couple of big surprises there as we then move into Q3. Now in Q3, I waited quite a while to go out on the inters because the track originally was full wet tyres, so I waited a little while until we got to the intermediate phase, and you can see here straight away on our first lap, straight up to second place, Ricardo currently P1 and the fastest. We then move on to our second lap, and again I was just finding more and more confidence in the car. We're now 4.5 10th up on our previous lap, and this is going to be an absolute flyer here. Purple middle sector, we go quickest of all by 0.4 of a second, and we take pole position here in qualifying. But that wasn't all, because we've got one more lap in the tank here, and this was my best lap of Q3. So as you can see already, 0.2 up nearly out of turn 1, now running up towards turn 2 and turn 3. Purple first sector, making sure we get the car slowed down to the apex, second gear corner, and then trying to get that traction out of here, short shifting nice and slowly, bit of oversteer on the second part of the exit, but we're still, you know, gaining a little bit of time as you now make our way down towards turn number 4, braking at the 100-meter board. Make sure you clip the inside curb here preferably to get a bit of inside rotation. We then get a nice exit out of here, actually find a bit more time as well, and we're now 0.3 up on our previous best as we now make our way through turn number 5. Again, now turn 6, trying to carry the speed, then down towards turn number 7. It's all about making sure we don't throw the lap time away. I got a little bit loose out of turn 6, to be fair. Lost a bit of time. We get a bit loose again there on the exit of 8. And we're still holding that 0.3 of a second advantage as we now make our way into the final 2 corners, just running outside the white line there, but no real major time gained or lost. And now up to the line, we get a great exit, and we're going to improve once again. 3 purple sectors, and it's pole position for now in qualifying. 4 minutes to go, and to be fair, the track did improve. The track was drying out. People were going faster and faster. Perez up to second place, Magnussen up to P4, and I was going quicker, but I made a bit of a mistake here out of turn 7 and 8, and that is going to ruin our lap. And to be fair, we got very lucky because we just held on to that pole position by 9 1/1000ths of a second over Sebastian Vettel. So the Ferraris this weekend showing some improved pace, and they've had some upgrades in the last couple of races, and they seem to be very strong around here. So Leclerc third place as well, making it a 2-3 for the prancing horses. Ricciardo in the end finishes P5. So all in all, I'll take that pole position here today. I could have improved on my final run slightly by about 1/10, but we made that mistake. Luckily, we got away with it. But the Ferraris showing real pace here this weekend, and no Mercedes in the top 10, which is absolutely huge for the Drivers and Constructors Championships. Also worth noting, Ricciardo will be the only driver to start the race on the medium tyres, so he could be the one to watch out for in terms of strategy. But guys, that's it for qualifying. We're now going to move into an interview.
Are you feeling confident that you can take your qualifying pace into the race?
I think so. We've got a great car this weekend, and the upgrades have worked well over the last few races.
Are you happy with your performance today?
For sure. I think the car was great in the rain as well, and that was really exciting.
Is there anything that you think gave you the edge over your rivals?
I think all round we've just got a great package. You know, the aero on this car is insane, and that really helps in these wet conditions for sure.
Appreciate your time.
And after qualifying, we look at the rivalry breakdown, and we outscore Hamilton by a point. So again, we're going to extend our lead over the 7-time world champion, the defending world champion here this weekend. And hopefully we can do even more in the race. We do make some small gains on the acclaim once again. But guys, that is going to be it for qualifying here for the Austrian Grand Prix. We're now going to move into the race, and fingers crossed we can try and convert this pole into a race win.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Martinez lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, and Magnussen, Norris, Ocon, Sainz, and Alexander Albon, Gasly, Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, and Verstappen, Stroll, Aitken, Daniel Kvyat, and Nick de Vries, Latifi, Russell, Giovinazzi, and Romain Grosjean sits at the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Right guys, here we go. It's time for the Austrian Grand Prix, starting from pole position here today. Great qualifying yesterday. We absolutely nailed it in all 3 sessions, and I was a little bit annoyed we didn't quite get a chance to see if we could try and go for a sub 1 minute lap. Either way though, we start from P1, and the good news is none of our title rivals are anywhere near the front row. So we've got, I believe, a couple of Ferraris behind us, a racing point it looks like, look in the mirrors, so we're looking pretty good out front in this race. In terms of strategy, we're going to start on the soft tyres, then move onto the hard compound tyres. A very simple one-stop strategy. Possibly, maybe we could go into the mediums. It's going to be really, really close in terms of tyre wear. It depends how the soft tyres hold on. And the plan is quite simple, really. I've underfueled the car by a lap, which is quite a lot, because I want to just kind of pull away, really, get that 1 second gap to the Ferrari of Vettel, and just try and race away into the distance and pretty much make it a very simple race for ourselves. I'm going to be honest, no rain expected, so it should be fairly straightforward. With that said though, let's get into the action here and let's get today's race underway for the Austrian Grand Prix. Right, here come the lights. Let's get the revs into the optimal range. Let's see what kind of start we get. Lights out and away we go. Not a good start. Having said that though, Vettel getting an absolute blinder, just getting a flyer off the line. But having said that, look at this, we're straight onto his gearbox here. Let's see if we can try and get this one back early on and reclaim the lead. Up towards turn 3 we go. Not quite close enough here. Maybe we can get him on the exit of this corner. No, maybe not. That Ferrari looking pretty handy actually. I think we're not going to get close enough, and looks like Sebastian Vettel will hold the lead for now in this race. I'm expecting to be quicker than a Ferrari. I know they've improved a lot lately and their cars got a lot quicker, but still I'm expecting us to be able to pull this one back. You know, I remember back in the Australian Grand Prix.
We're very low on fuel. Try to shift up through the gears earlier.
Yep.
It may help save more fuel.
Oh no, Jeff, don't worry. Back in the Australian Grand Prix, I believe the Ferraris were out at like P15 in terms of qualifying, so they've really improved. But I'm expecting us to have the measure of them here today. So let's see. I think the first couple of laps might be tricky. The AI tend to use up all of their ERS in the first 2 laps. So we'll start to show some real pace, I think, starting from lap 3. Right, this is when I'm expecting to overtake Sebastian here. So we're going to kind of set him up a little bit. First of all, up to turn 3, we're going to just close the gap and be right in his gearbox for the exit of the corner. And now we're going to power up here, getting that traction down. Look at the speed difference now. The Ferrari's not running full power anymore. We've got DRS. To the outside we go to turn 4. Going the long way around here. Side by side on the exit. Sebastian Vettel holds on in the Ferrari. We're going to get the inside line though through the left-hander, and that is going to mean job done and back up into the race lead here as we get ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Nice clean move and some good racing there. Looks like, to be fair, the Ferraris do have some pace though, because Perez can't keep up. So it's me, Vettel, Leclerc. That's the front 3. I'm going to keep an eye out for Ricardo. He's one driver that could make something happen because I know he's on the medium tyres. So
Okay, we're starting to think about saving some fuel.
yeah, I know.
Lower the fuel mix and go easy on the throttle.
You don't need to tell me every single time, Jeff. Anyway, Ricardo, I feel like he could be a factor in this race because he's the only one that's had a bit of a strategy offset. He's on mediums. I believe he's in P6. So we'll keep an eye out and see what happens with Daniel. But for now, we just got to focus on pulling out a gap here and getting over a second clear of the Ferraris, which we've just about managed there through turn 3, which is perfect. Leclerc overtakes Vettel. Ferrari's battling away, which is good news for us. Hopefully we can start to pull away now. I'm also trying to save a bit of fuel as well. Fuel is not saving as rapidly as I thought. Leclerc's really, pushing me here. I'm struggling to pull away. He's keeping within half a second of me all the time. Vettel's dropped off. So at the minute, it's all Charles Leclerc here. I'm not under too much pressure. I can use more overtake if I need to, but Ferrari seem...
Low on fuel. Try shifting up the gears
Jeff, I
a little
swear
sooner.
down.
This should help us save some fuel.
Every time I speak, he mentions it. This is so annoying. Anyway, we're so, quick on the straight, but the Ferrari's keeping up so well. They've really improved for some reason this weekend. At least maybe it just suits their car a bit, this track. I'm not sure, but they are so much more competitive, which is good to see, obviously, but I don't want them to get too close. I'm very surprised Leclerc is not dropping off. I thought he might have just been using some higher engine mode, but he's keeping up with me here, so it looks like we do have a battle on our hands. I thought I'd actually be relatively comfortable, but we've actually got a race on our hands. Leclerc is giving me a fight, so we're going to have to dig in here and expect Leclerc to stick with us for the rest of the race. Oh, okay, Leclerc's made a bit of an error, I think. He might have just made a slight mistake. He's now just dropped out the DRS range, which is important for us. This might be the breakaway that we need. Let's see if we can keep that gap. Lando Norris pits. He's the first one out of the top 5 to box. We've now got the breakaway. We've also got our fuel back on target, so we don't have to save anymore. So that's worked out okay now. So we should be able to hold to a much stronger pace, and the gap should start to increase now to Leclerc. Lap by lap, you can see now 2 seconds is the gap. I think Leclerc's finally given up on this. I knew he was punching above his weight because we are still quite a way quicker than the Ferrari. So I was impressed how long him, and to be fair, Sebastian as well, held on. But still a very strong race from Ferrari here today. They're very competitive. Ooh.
Daniel's in the pits.
That's interesting. Ricciardo pits already. He was on medium, so that's very surprising. He's going to obviously go for the hard tyre now. We're going to go for mediums because we've just got to do this lap and one more. So we've managed to stretch our stint. So we're going to go for the medium tyres in this race, so we should be even more competitive in the second stint. Right, here we go then. We're going to box this lap for the medium tyres. Leclerc 2.8 adrift, so we're not going to be under any threat. Ferrari also opted to pit Sebastian Vettel first, so they refused to use Leclerc on an undercut attempt to try and get me as we get a bit loose there into the pit entry. There we go, perfect pit sequence so far. We're now going to hope for a nice quick stop, but we should be rejoining, in theory, out in the lead because all the guys on soft tyres should be in this lap. So here we go then. Let's see how this goes. Bit slow, 2.8. It felt slow, but we're going to be okay.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Job done, there we go. We've rejoined comfortably in the lead, and also, to be fair to his credit, Leclerc rejoins comfortably in P2. Vettel still holding P3 as well, so interesting. It looks like we do have a few cars on the hard tyres, Lando Norris being one of them, so he might start going backwards. Ricciardo also on the hard tyres. I'm curious to see how he gets on in this stint, but for now, no sign of the silver arrows. Hamilton, Bottas out of the picture, Ricciardo as well, and we've currently got the fastest lap in our name. I say that, Ricciardo's just popped up now in P5. He's on soft tyres, so Ricciardo 2-stopping here on a very aggressive strategy, which is interesting. So it looks like no silver arrows in the top 5. This is going to be tasty, this, for us, because we are going to gain a big chunk of points in the championship, especially if we hold the fastest lap, which I'm not too sure about now that I've seen Ricciardo is on softs, but you never know, we can still try and go for it. And there goes our fastest lap, 1 minute 3.3 from Daniel Ricciardo. Only a tenth quicker than mine, but he was battling that lap. But let's see Ricciardo now, what kind of progress he makes. He's only a second off Lando, who's on the hard tyres, so it should be easy pickings for Daniel. Ricciardo and Norris going at it. And I think Ricciardo has got that move done into turn 1. So he's now P4. He's going to start hunting down Sebastian Vettel. This could work for Ricciardo. I mean, to be fair, if there was ever a time to go for an aggressive, 2-stop on soft tyres, it's this race, because of course he's going to have plenty of soft tyres due to the wet qualifying. So if he's quick enough now and just start to make some clearance in terms of traffic, he could be the one to watch out for. This could be a good drive from Daniel. Personal best, but we don't quite reclaim our fastest lap, which was a shame. But I'm expecting Daniel to pick up that extra point today, to be honest. Alright, this is going to be the lap we reclaim the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. 1 minute 3.1, there we go. Managed to get there in the end. Had to work for it, but we've done it. Meanwhile, Ricciardo still not showing as much pace as I thought, and he's in already, so
Daniel's in for his stop.
that stint didn't work out as well as I think he hoped for. I've run this in a bit hot here by accident. But we'll see what happens now in this next stint. Now Ricciardo will have a huge advantage on tyres. The question is, can he fight his way back up there? I'm not too sure. Ricciardo, new fastest lap, 1 minute 2.7. I'm on a bit of a lap myself here. I'm going to see if I can try and get that one back. Here we go. Let's see if we can get that lap back. It's going to be close, but I don't think we've got enough. No, it's a 1 minute 2.8. We just miss out. I tried it because I'm coming up to traffic now, so we're going to start struggling to hit that lap. So that was my attempt, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. I'm going to take a leaf out of the real life Austrian Grand Prix in 2020, and I'm going to just try and drive slower now, stay off the curbs mainly. That was a bit of a start out, to be fair, but yeah, I'm just going to try and stay off curbs as much as I can, and also avoid using too much engine mixture. This is a good race now for us to save a bit of the engine, because the control electronics around here gets absolutely just torn apart because you use every single curb, and that's what happened in real life. So we're going to try and see if we can protect that a little bit, because this is a brand new one now. We've got to make sure this control electronics gets to the end of the season, so we've got a lot of races to do with it. So I am going to do a bit of engine management here this race.
Some information on Stroll. They're retiring from the race.
Losing one of the racing points right at the end. Too late for a safety car though. Also worth noting, Sainz has creeped up,
Yellow flag.
along with Bottas, into the top 5 as the race has progressed.
There's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags.
I'm pretty sure that was a Williams and not a Racing Point back there. Unless the ghosting kind of messed up. That car looked white instead of pink to me. Nonetheless, let's bring this one home now. Right, here we go. Last lap of the race. It's been a very, very dominant performance in the end. You know, the first part of the race, the Ferraris are keeping up, but in the end, we've cruised it. And look at this. We're going to win in style here at Austria. And we win 3 on the bounce.
Fantastic. You've won the Grand Prix.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here in Spielberg, and rightly so, a brilliant effort from the whole team. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
Well then guys, there we go, the race is done and we pick up the win. In the end, Ricciardo does recover to P5 and actually knocks off Bottas there from P5 and picks up the fastest lap as well. So Ricciardo in the end, not bad. You know, he started P5, finished P5. I don't agree with the strategy, but it is what it is. And looking behind that, we've got Leclerc second, Vettel running off the podium. So both Ferraris back up in the top 3. Very strong weekend from them, and maybe we might have to start watching out for them, you know, moving forward. Carlos Sainz P5 ahead of Ricciardo, Bottas, Albon, Perez in the end finishes P8. He had a pretty poor race. He was running in P4, so I'm not sure what happened to Sergio in that race. Hamilton only P9. That is massive for the championship once again. And Verstappen rounds off the top 10 with Gasly, Norris, Kvyat, Magnussen, Ocon, Aitken, Giovinazzi, De Vries, Russell, Grosjean, Latifi, and Stroll missing out on the points here today. We then move into the driver standings, and we are 64 points clear. We are dominating the championship here in Austria. Bottas still third, Ricciardo still fourth, and the battle for second now is hotting up. They're both, all three of them, sorry, are covered by 22 points. So things are going to go down to the wire here, I feel like. We then look at the constructors, and we are 56 points clear, the biggest the gap has ever been to Mercedes in this entire My Team career mode so far. So guys, it's exciting. We're looking good. We could potentially and probably win the championships this season, which is insane. But guys, before we wrap things up for today's episode, let's move into the laptop and let's throw on some more upgrades for the future races. And after that race, as you can see on the breakdown, we have scored a big amount of points, and that pretty much will wrap up the rivalry. It's amazing how for a couple of races there, Hamilton managed to draw back equal on points, and the last 2 races I've just completely broken it again and pulled away. So really good in the rivalry. We dominate that. We also are doing pretty well on the team acclaim. We then move over to the cash and the team bonuses, and again, a solid weekend. We hit all of our targets, so a full payout once more. And also, I'm going to see if there's going to be any damage deductions, which there is not. So we also get 100,000 extra bonus. So happy days, a great weekend, and we are now over $26 million. Here we are then back on the laptop, and we've got quite a few things to get through. So first of all, it's time to renegotiate a contract with Daniel Ricciardo. So let's see if we can re-sign him, because I'm very happy with him. He's done a good job for us. He's got a race win under his belt and multiple podiums, and that is exactly what I want to see from my number 2 driver. So Daniel has accepted our approach. He's asking for 11.1 million, so that is medium risk. So in theory, this should be accepted. So there shouldn't be any issues in terms of this contract, unless he denies it. No, he hasn't. Okay, so there we go. Ricciardo signs, and we move forward now into the second half of the season. Now we've got quite a few things to get through here. So first of all, we're going to go over to the activities tab. We're going to assign a couple of activities. First of all, I'm thinking a sports demonstration event to improve our own driver acclaim. We then go after the invitational event. We've got 5 more days, so we're going to go for some stimulator training for Daniel Ricciardo, and then 3 more days for, I think, some Maybe some aero department focus, maybe not, because that actually takes away morale everywhere else. So I think I might go for some durability equipment upgrade. So that fills that slot. We then move over to the messages. We get a bit of an update on the R&D graph. That's not really that important. Let's go for some upgrades though. We've got 1,400 points. Not a huge amount, but still enough to hopefully make a couple of purchases. So looking at our options, we do have, it looks like, pretty much major or ultimate upgrades across the board here. So first of all, aerodynamics. Can we afford this? No, we can't. That's 1,900 points, which is quite a lot. So we'll go for a brake upgrade, a major one. Although, to be fair, I can't afford that either. I'm actually just shy. So it looks like we can't actually buy anything at the minute. So we're just going to skip ahead, I guess. I don't think we're going to do the invitation event because I don't really need the acclaim anymore. I've got more than enough. So we're just going to skip ahead now all the way to the next race in Britain. And there we go then, we are ready for my home race, the team's home race here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. We have, as you can see, a decent amount of cash, and also looking at the R&D points, nearly 2,000 points now, so hopefully after this race we should be able to purchase some more big upgrades. But guys, that is going to be it from me here today for this episode of the My Team Career Mode. If you guys enjoyed it, then smash the like button. Let's try and hit 1,000 likes for today's race win, and also subscribe if you are new to the channel, guys, as we're closing in, and I want to try and hit 60k subs by the end of the year if possible, so any help would be massively appreciated. Finally guys, check out the 2 videos on your screen right now if you haven't seen them already, and that's going to be it from me, guys. I'll see you all next time for the next episode, but until then, take care and let's goodbye from me.